Okay, and welcome to another episode of Business Spotlight. Stephen O'Sullivan here, and I'm very excited to sit down with our guest today, Nathalie Scipioni. We're going to learn about what it's like to start, own, and run a very well-established architecture business here in Sydney. So welcome, Nathalie. Welcome to the show.
Thank you.
Great to have you. So tell us a little bit about the business and why you started. Tell us.
Okay, so I started in the end of 2007, but my background go back to 97. So I studied architecture in Florence in Italy. I work in Paris and studied in Paris for 10 years. After that, also have a postmaster degree in heritage. I came to Australia at the beginning with my family for a year. So my days, I'm learning English, and then I go back to my career in Paris, where I used to restore monuments, which was quite interesting, and I was happy there.
Mm-hmm.
And then when I come here, I thought, oh, and because I have to learn English and I'm used to work all the time, I want to start to work in Australia. So I start to work with different company at the beginning, more involved in heritage. So I was involved when they did the carriage work in Italy. I was in the heritage team. So because of my background in heritage, even if my English was poor, my experience was pretty good. And so that was my first experience in Australia, which was quite interesting. And then I tried to work in a different company. I have kids in between. I have 3 children. And then one day I say to myself, maybe I should give it a try, and have my own business.
Okay.
And how I started. So I renovated my house. I bought a rundown house. I renovated and I create a small studio at the back of the property with a separate entrance. So this was my studio. At the time, I was called differently. My company was called NS Studio. So I rebrand this year with my name for the company name. And my first client is people I knew or from the school of my kids, and a lot of alteration addition. And my goal was always to have an holistic approach where a client comes to me and I take the project from concept to construction and I guide the client through the process. And that's how I started.
Excellent. That's you were doing it for someone else. Let's go and take a risk and do it on our own. And so
take a risk. Yeah.
If you can cast your mind back to 2007, what were your hopes and dreams for the company back then, or your little business?
Always my dream to be an established architect, in the sense that recognized for the work and quality work and for the customer service. That was my goal. But starting in a country where I didn't grow up and English is not my first language, so it was a dream. And I had 3 young kids. My third one was born a year after I created the business. So I tried to manage different challenge, and it was more expressing myself and be independent and do the work I want to do and be in charge of that instead of relying on someone else. But I had to learn everything from scratch. So at the beginning is how to run a business, learning everything on the go, relationship with people, budget, money. That was a big curve, but also having people working for me. So see the growth straight away. I start to hire students to help me and how to delegate things. And that was my first. So I was working more for passion when I start my business, while now I work more for a business to make it work. That's been a big change, big evolution. So understanding what works and the time and all of that has been a big evolution of my business.
Interesting. And on that theme of evolution, what have you What have you learnt about yourself on this entrepreneurial journey?
I learned I can do it. So I learned that the confidence that I can run a business,
Mm-hmm.
I can have client, that client appreciate the work we do, at least the client we work with, and the beauty also with the time, because when you start a business, especially in architecture, the best thing is when you see the design come to reality, and then having the client happy with that.
Yeah.
So when I started, I didn't have that yet, except my house, and but this was for myself. So having seen that a record of project, and it things interesting, and also the experience to go through, I learned a lot how to deal with people, a lot. I learned a lot about liability. So unfortunately, you learn from sometimes from bad experience, from good experience, but from bad experience, you learn even more.
Yep.
And I learned a lot how to approach people, how to communicate. Yeah, that's if I answer the question properly.
Fantastic. Is there any particular influence, learning, lessons that you've got along the way, like any particular books or advice that you've got that's really helped you gain the success you've had?
I always try to have self-development. So from the beginning, because I didn't know anyone, I didn't know how to find client, I started to do BNI.
Oh, yeah.
So it was an opportunity for me to know people. And through that, it was a good opportunity also when you start a business, not only to know people from other business, but to understand and learn from other people. So that was a way. I did BNI for 10 years. So I recently left the group, and I think I grew through that as well. So it was not only try to get business, but also learning from other people. That was one thing. I did a lot of business coaching.
Okay.
I did Tony Robbins. I did the business mastery in Las Vegas in 2019. And it was quite intense. So it's a personal approach, but I learned a lot. That's where I learned, and was recently how to quantify everything, whatever you do to make a business successful. So the evolution has been a lot to understand doing a business for passion and doing a business also for business, not only for passion. Passion is what makes you keep going, but you need to survive as well. And you need to have a profit, you need to pay employee, you need to budget. You can't just run and the money will come. So that has been a big learning thing for me.
Yeah, and a massive lesson, or good advice to hear for anyone starting out a business, that it requires, they're not exclusive. They go together, and they go quite well together. So that's really good. And I understand now you have a team. You've got other architects. You've got a support team. What tell us a bit about leadership. What thoughts come to mind? Managing people.
I'm always direct and honest. It's the hardest part of the business.
Yeah, okay.
Managing people and having people, and choose the right people that fit a small business like mine. I think in a big business or in a big company, there is less individuality. So, but being a small business, and for me, my business is like my fourth child, right? So I'm expecting things done in a way that we can all be proud of the business, but we're always giving and we help each other. It's just creating a team. So the biggest challenge, and I saw an evolution in culture as well, cultural evolution in people, employee. I noticed that when I started in 2007, was very easy. Maybe this is controversial what I say now. Good. It was very easy to find people that were committed, put themselves on the line to prove themselves, and then maybe get to a level and ask the big money, and then and it was very easy to find people. Now is a different attitude. I grow the business, so I can afford also to pay people more. But what I found is there is a lot of entitlement. Is give me first, and then I prove who I am.
Okay.
And I found also the level of competency went very down. So yeah, I found this is the hardest part of my business, which was not at the beginning. The more I grow, the more I realize that I need people.
Yes.
But I need the right people, and it's very hard to find the right people for a mix of things. Yeah.
Yes.
A combination of different things, culture. It's a small environment.
Yeah. And I think it's invaluable to hear that from you, given we're talking about 3 different decades of it, that it is getting in. I don't think it's controversial. I think it's true.
And I heard it's a big problem for a lot of people. For business owner, when I have the chance to speak to other people, I realize even all the architectural firm.
No, that's great to hear that it's so what have you done? Have you changed your approach to recruiting or job design, or what have you done to overcome this challenge?
I didn't overcome the challenge. That's the challenge. I'm still, the more time I invest, I try everything. I think I try recruiter, I try directly, I try experience, I try not experience, and everything comes to what I think is personality and education and passion and ambition. Yep. And so I think when someone is driven, everything will come. That is my theory. And that's what's happened to me. I think I start in a country where I didn't know anyone, I didn't know English, and I was still able to grow. But I didn't start, when I was an employee, I didn't say, I want this because I have the experience. I'm humble. I don't know anything. I want to learn and I want to put in. And then I got to the point where I could start a business, I can grow a business. But I think it's getting worse. And Australia is a lucky country, because in Australia there is work. So people have this chance that they can change around, and employers are kind of desperate to get people. Yeah.
It's a lucky. Yes, it is very lucky.
Yeah.
So what's apart from this people challenge, as an entrepreneur, what keeps you up at night?
The people. Other than that, cash flow is a big issue.
Okay.
Be sure that there is things coming in. Make sure that we have a break even every month at least. We don't lose money. So the financial part, yes, a lot. But also it's important that we commit, for me, that we have a good relationship with the client. So I want to make sure that the client understands our position, but we help them. And it's a complex, a construction site is a complex situation. We have a lot of people, the builder, the consultant, the trade, the supplier. And you have to put everyone together and represent the client, do their own interest. But we also have to educate the client, because it's the first time, most of the time, they go through a renovation, new house. And that is the biggest challenge. So to be able to be on their side, but also educate them what is the process and why it's not perfect. And that's why it's not just black and white, but it's a gray zone sometimes, and we have to do compromise. And so that is always try to make sure we have a good communication and we provide a good customer service. And then this is going back to employees. So the employee has to represent that in my business. So that's why sometimes very strict, we need to communicate with the client. We need to present. We need to minimize mistake. That's That's what stressed me a lot.
Ah. And let's talk about something exciting. Where to now for the business? What's exciting you on the horizon?
We have a few different projects. What I like is we do different things.
Okay.
We have different type of projects. So we have few construction on the go, what we designed from the beginning and now is building, different size. We have a big project that's been on construction for 2 years and 2 years to go. It's a huge house, 1,000 square meter of house on 4 level in Coogee, with 10 bedroom with ensuite, 2 living area, gym.
Like a hotel.
Yes. It looks like a multi-dwelling, but it's one house.
Oh, wow.
So I'm excited to see we working through the process. It's not easy because we represent a family who lives overseas, but it's quite exciting, and I'm very excited to see when it's finished. It will be quite a nice, a prestigious project. Then we work as a heritage consultant for another architect, for a childcare that is built inside water tower. So it's a very unique project, and again, very exciting because it's unique. So the architect is doing the design and the architecture. We come in because it's a heritage item as heritage consultant, and we advise on the methodology and the process.
Okay.
But we do also like a retail shop. We just started construction for a small retail shop, and I like the eclectic part where we can choose material, we can have nice light fitting. This is more interior design. So again, we have different things. I think what I learn is not taking every project. I can't do everything. That's what I'm learning now.
Yep.
And I need to accept that sometimes it's not perfect. And I can't work for everyone, and I need to be more selective with the resource I have now.
Okay.
And no panic, and slowly, if I want to grow, we'll grow. But at the same time, I don't want to become very big. I still want to stay boutique business and be able to work with the client, understand us and appreciate what we're doing, and we create a good relationship.
Nice. And who is your ideal client?
My ideal client is, independently of the budget, is the person who trusts us, who say to me, what do you think? I trust what you say. And they are happy at the end as well. But it's a client who is understanding architecture, but in a way that he understands that we guiding them. I'm not doing my house, for example, in a residential context. I'm doing for them. Yep. I'm helping them through the process, and they trust that I have the experience to do that. That's why they come to me, and I can help them. And I think the trust is a big thing for me, and that's why they come to me. So that's yeah.
Fantastic. Okay, so if that is you, if you're watching this right now, then or if you want to build a house with 10 bedrooms or with ensuite, get in touch with Nathalie. I'll put your details in the show notes. It's been a wonderful interview. Great to hear about your journey over the years and the lessons learned. So thank you very much.
Thank you for
Excellent.
your time.